Now moving on to the main seam allowance, armhole side seam allowance, and back enclosure seam allowance. So this is if you want to add binding to your design or want to do fold over elastic, or depending on what design choices you're making, you can customize your level of seam allowance. I'm going to set these to 0 so I can demonstrate. So the main seam allowance, essentially where all main seams meet. So we have our shoulder seam, we have our side seams, we have our center back seam, we have our gusset seams, side seams. Our armhole, leg hole seam allowance, that is going to be anywhere that you would attach binding. So neckline, armhole, back cutout, leg line, armhole. So if you want to add binding, you would obviously add seam allowance to your main seams, and then you would add 0 seam allowance for your arm leg hole seam allowance. In terms of back enclosure seam allowance, this is specifically for that back enclosure piece for your open back depth. So this guy here, depending on what your enclosure is going to be, you might need to fold over, or you might need an extra seam allowance there. So this is specific to that measurement. In terms of contour and straight line coverage, this is going to be, straight line is going to be the most stable in terms of tensions. So it is just straight line coverage from your hip to the gusset versus contour coverage. It's going to give you that little bit extra coverage. So if you're making a dance costume or you want a bit more of a modest look, you're going to have a little bit more coverage here and you have that contour.